Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another legal breaking reporting edition and video analysis update and reporting. It is time for the first afternoon reporting for the day. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker and his government have officially sued the Trump administration to block their unconstitutional, unlawful, unneeded, unnecessary deployment of National Guard troops to the city. Let's get into this brand new reporting by Democracy Docket. The article, ladies and gentlemen, is titled, Illinois sues to block Trump's deployment of Texas National Guard in Chicago. And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, the article reads, Illinois filed a lawsuit Monday to block President Donald Trump's attempt to send hundreds of Texas National Guard troops in Chicago, saying the deployment infringes on the state's sovereignty and not, ladies and gentlemen, right to self-governance. The American people, regardless of where they reside, should not live under the threat of occupation by the United States military, particularly not simply because their city or state leadership has fallen of a president's ladies and gentlemen, out of a president's favor. Illinois' lawsuit reads, Illinois' lawsuit was in response to a memo issued by Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth Sunday night causing, ladies and gentlemen, calling up 400 members of the Texas National Guard to be deployed where needed, including in Chicago. Hegseth's memo also said the Texas National Guard could be sent to Portland, Oregon. However, a federal judge later barred the Trump administration from sending any federalized troops to Oregon. Ladies and gentlemen, Hegseth's memo marked the first time the Trump administration attempted to say, use outside state governor, guard personnel against consenting states, a move that raises severe state sovereignty issues, legal experts warned. Illinois argued that Trump lacks legal authority to use outside state guard personnel in Chicago. The state said the deployment was based on false claims from the president and his cabinet officials that unrest in Chicago warranted a military deployment. In fact, it said the unrest has largely been the result of the Department of Homeland Security, DHS's aggressive immigration enforcement operations in the city. For instance, Illinois noted that federal agents supported by helicopters and armored vehicles raided a multi-story apartment building in the city last week. Federal officers pulled men, women, and children from their apartments and detained them for hours overnight. U.S. citizens were among those detained. Far from promoting public safety in the Chicago region, Democrats' provocation and arbitrary actions have threatened to undermine public safety by inciting a public outcry. The lawsuit reads, Illinois said that the deployment, in addition to causing economic harm and undermining its ability to govern itself as a sovereign state, will cause only more unrest, including harming social fabric and community relations and increasing the mistrust of police. Trump's deployment of the Texas National Guard to Illinois came over the repeated objections of Governor J.B. Pritzker, Democrat, and local elected officials. In a statement Sunday, Pritzker warned that Trump was sending troops into a sovereign state without their knowledge, consent, or cooperation. We must now start calling this what it is: Trump's invasion. Pritzker said it started with federal agents. It will soon include deploying federalized members of the Illinois National Guard against our wishes, and it will now involve sending another state's military troops. Pritzker called on Texas Governor Greg Abbott, Republican, to withdraw the troops. However, Abbott said he authorized Trump to call up Texas National Guard and fully supported Guard troops being used against Illinois or governor. Ladies and gentlemen, before we do continue with the reporting, it is a complete violation of the Pausa Comitatus Act, POSSE, Comitatus Act, or PCA, for military or National Guard or Air Force or Marines to be used to occupy and police its citizens, aka police cities, specifically Democratic-led cities. Donald Trump is trying to start a civil war. If he does this in a more normalized world and a more normalized Congress that's not shoved so far up his you-know-what and bending over backwards for him, he would be gone in an instant. Continuing with the reporting, ladies and gentlemen. You can either fully enforce protection for federal employees or get out of the way and let Texas Guard do it. Abbott said, "No guard can match the training, skill, and expertise of the Texas National Guard." Trump's guard deployment in Chicago has been ladies and gentlemen, months in the making. The president has repeatedly threatened to send troops to the state. In a social media post earlier this year, Trump threatened to wage war against Chicago. This is a breaking news story, ladies and gentlemen. Please check back for additional details. My editorial edition of the article, concluding sentence. In the meantime, please stay positive and please stay safe. And always look for the points of light in today's unfortunate illegal induced darkness caused by the illegal unconstitutional Trump regime.